up, Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Everywhere you go, your manners are with you, and they leave their mark. They help you feel sure of yourself, too, and they make an impression on people.
Demonstrators wreaked havoc in Washington, D.C. and destroyed storefront windows.
It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation.
Make political commitments to curb population growth.
We didn't simulate this. We didn't practice.
What the hell do they let the reporters in there for?
MK Ultra.
8 million adults are affected by it.
Don't try it.
There will be no outcome that leaves Saddam Hussein in power.
A brand new group called ISIL.
We're speeding up training of ISIL forces.
The one person who wasn't random was the security guard.
America was founded as a constitutional republic.
Kick the incumbents out. Send citizens to Washington.
I will totally obliterate the deep state. We will obliterate the deep state.
Yes, here we go. Another episode of Altered State. Things are heating up. I'm just looking forward to every show these days, man. How are you feeling?
Oh, dude, I feel so good. Every single day I wake up and I'm just like super stoked and excited. Yeah, I think things are really heating up as well. And I know a lot of people are just like, I don't believe anything's going to happen, and I don't blame you. But if it's going to happen, it's going to happen now, because people need a reason to continue believing that this system is real. And if they don't deliver on a lot of this stuff, then people are just not going to continue to give a shit. Like, as an example, both Bill and Hillary Clinton chose not to show up for their depositions. Okay. Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro also didn't show up for depositions, but they had a legal argument with precedent as to why they should not. Okay. They both had executive privilege. However, they were both indicted. They were both arrested. They were both thrown in prison at key times in the midst of the 2024 presidential election, when they were both powerful with voices. Bill and Hillary Clinton's legal objection seems to be, we don't feel like it. There is nothing cogent about their reasoning. And, you know, they wrote this very well-written 4-page letter. I read it on my show the other day. I saw last night that you and Abby were going over it too. And, you know, I mean, it might have been catchy. They hit on some good, like, you know, comebacks at the administration, you know, for their base. I mean, people are going to read that. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, Trump is so corrupt and the things happening in this administration. Oh, my gosh. You know, but not much of it made sense logically. It was just meant to hit on emotional beats. And at the end, they said, oh, we're standing up to the law. I mean, Congress has the mandate to subpoena people to come forward and testify. There's only one logical reason that Bill and Hillary Clinton don't want to testify, is because they don't want to get asked the questions, which undoubtedly are going to force them to plead the fifth, because otherwise they're going to have to lie. And then they're going to put themselves in even greater jeopardy. I love that today James Comer was like, you know, as a for instance, Jeffrey Epstein, he said that he started the Clinton Foundation with the Clintons. Like, my God, you know how many years I've been waiting for somebody to ask them a question related to that? Like, nobody. They don't put themselves in front of journalists that would ask that question. The only media they ever speak to are their friendly acolytes and their mouthpieces. None of them are ever going to ask that question. And they have conveniently been able to avoid any sort of accountability in terms of congressional hearings. So no, they've never had to ask that. They've never had to answer that. So now it's going to get asked, and they know it. They know all of the questions that are going to be asked. Did you see Comer hold up that binder? It was easily hundreds of pages. They were like, this is what we prepared. This is what we were planning on asking them. So my ultimate point here is that if they do not treat Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton with the same level of accountability as Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon were afforded, then who in their right mind would ever in the future take a subpoena seriously from any congressional committee?
Yeah.
There's no reason
to. It's over. It's over
Means
after
nothing.
that.
Yeah, it's all fake.
I was low key, and I told Abby this beforehand, and I kind of celebrated a little yesterday. I was really hoping they wouldn't show up. I think everyone knew they probably weren't going to.
Yeah.
But because of Navarro and Bannon, that precedent has been set now. Throw them in jail. Throw them in jail. They both got 4 months. You can get, I think, up to about a year if they're able to put that forth for this contempt. And honestly, I think that you should indict them as soon as possible. I forget. I think Navarro, they didn't indict until about 3 months later. Bannon was about a month later. So somewhere in this time window, just indict them and then let it play out. Navarro, I think, took about 2 years fully to play up, and then he had to serve 4 months. Bannon, he pushed back a lot, and I think it was about 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got 3 more years of the Clinton administration, of the Trump administration 2.0. We have plenty of time to let the full process play out and put a Clinton behind bars for anything. They don't care, right? They were trying to put Trump in jail for literally jaywalking if they could. They just wanted him in jail, and that's what I want.
So the hearing to hold them in contempt is already scheduled for next week. All right, that's the next step that we have to go through. Okay, and then once they're held in contempt, that will immediately be given as a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. I would imagine that the Department of Justice is going to have some motivation to move on this as quickly as possible. And, I mean, everybody else who knew anything came forward. I mean, it's kind of ceremonial. Every single person that's been part of this grand conspiracy over the last, 10 years was subpoenaed. And everybody responded. I mean, Bill and Hillary Clinton have had more contact with Jeffrey Epstein than anybody else out of any of those people that were subpoenaed. And they say that they know nothing. They've got no knowledge, no information. Well, at the very least, Bill Clinton should probably remember the 17 times that Jeffrey Epstein came and visited him at his at his Oval Office in the White House, and
which he paid for.
Absolutely,
which he donated to, and those donations went to renovating the Oval Office.
Yes. Now, don't forget Mark Middleton, the man in Arkansas who was found suicided on a property that was connected to the Clintons, who was a fixer for Bill Clinton, worked in the Clinton White House, facilitated the Epstein visits to the White House, was found dead, suicided on this property, hanging from a tree with, I believe there was no ladder or chair in sight. He was hanging by an extension cord, one of those orange extension cords, and he was also shot in the chest, as if he had shot himself in the chest with a shotgun while he was hanging in the air, and the shotgun was not anywhere near his body. Now, right before that, there was another woman that was connected to him that was found in the bottom of a creek. She had allegedly used an extension cord, very similar implementation, to tie a cinder block to her ankle, and then she tossed it overboard from maybe a kayak or something like that. That's what the story is. But she was also dead. And we've never had clear communication on those deaths or exactly what happened. I'll tell you what, I don't believe for a second either of them killed themselves. But I can tell you that the one common denominator between them is Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, these are arch criminals we're talking about here.
Yep.
And logic would dictate potentially serial killers. It's actually, if you look at the Clinton body count in the 90s, I don't have it right here, but I was showing it the other day, how they printed it in the George magazine book.
Yep.
That came out, the presidential list book from 98. I want to say that came out. It's already 3 pages long in 98. Now you have a whole litany that have been added to that over time. That's worse than some of the most documented serial killers of our time. If you're to believe that they had a hand in that they ordered that, That's worse than any mafia boss. You hear these different things. You watch these breakdowns. And a lot of them, they have hits under their belt. They've ordered hits, and maybe a dozen people, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" There's a couple outliers like Roy DeMeo, right? I think killed like 200 people. Is insane maniac. There's also
that Iceman,
the Lucchese's, who went on a gas pipe, went on a crazy murder binge. Those are the Iceman. There's a couple outliers, but for the most part, your most ruthless crime bosses have maybe 5 to 10 hits that they ordered under their belt. These people are worse than that, and again, they're just arch criminals. You look at how much they have actually puppet stringed what has happened in this country, this sort of socialist bent, and all the erosion of so many civil liberties over time that they have done, either from the White House or the State Department, or just being political figures in that sphere. I can't even fathom how you just don't jump at the first chance you get to put them behind bars for literally anything you can find, and then continue to work from there. And I really hope there is that in the investigation we had heard about for years. Apparently, Huber was doing it, and then all these people, and you hear about the plane that landed in Little Rock with all the things. I really hope that's a real investigation, because if there's not an actual, active, hardcore investigation into the Clintons going on right now, then that is a fail.
It is a fail. It is 100% a fail. Yeah, we need this as a nation.
Right,
we
this
need
isn't
this
like,
to
hey, I
heal.
don't like their politics. Like, no, these are horrendous human beings.
As evil as they come.
Yeah, this is terrible. But again, I was hoping they didn't show up, because now this sets that precedent. I mean, what were they going to do? They were going to just, it's not like they were going to answer any questions any sort of way that would be meaningful. So now you get them. Maybe the extradition of Hillary Clinton will be underway at some point, depending on where they wind up.
Well, I mean,
Thursday.
When they hold them in contempt, it would be interesting to see if the State Department pulls their passports so that they can't travel outside of the country, because all they would need to do would be to go to some far-flung nation like Montenegro, or someplace that doesn't have extradition with the United States, and then they could just hang out there, and they could claim refugee status or something like that.
Yeah,
and of course they have money to spare. They've got plenty of cash. Bill and Hillary Clinton don't need to be residing in the United States of America to continue making money. I'm sure that there are all kinds of deals that they would still be able to do, speaking engagements, etc.
Yeah, and of course, the people like that can generate money at will, and they could even people they can call and just be given money at will if they want, even under the table. They are part of the whole criminal enterprise. But it leads to me to think of two things. One, is that going to happen? Most likely. But two, they're also getting up there in age, and there is no honor amongst thieves. And these people will toss each other into the meat grinder when they need to. Mm-hmm. So depending on how hot things get, they might even have to hide from their own side. So, but I think this is a good point right here from Brian Murphy. He says, if Brad and Zach knew 3 people that mysteriously died under weird circumstances, I would question their involvement, let alone dozens upon dozens of bodies left in the wake of the Clinton rise. It's so true. If anyone had even a fraction of that list attached to their name, it would be a national scandal. And here you get, like the other day we played on a show the clip from a couple years ago with Anthony Weiner. Patrick Bet Davis asked him about the Clinton body list, and Weiner melts down, and he was like, Pizzagate, guy shot, people die, what, conspiracy. Is pretty funny clip. And it's like, dude, you don't think that's weird? No one thinks this is freaking weird. Like, how do you not, I don't know. It's quite insane.
Anthony Weiner would be among those people who may find himself attached to the Clinton body count. So, I mean, of course, he has every incentive to try to dismiss it any chance that he gets. But yeah, I definitely saw his reaction, and it was more than a little odd.
He's like blinking help with his eyes.
Yes.
SOS.
SOS.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's so funny.
Oh, man. Now, did you see any of the round 2, what David Hawk and Nick Shirley released today?
I just finished it before the show started. Yes.
I clipped 2 parts of it. If maybe we would want to play here for our audience. There's way more. The whole thing is absolutely worth a watch. But I first clipped David Hawk kind of breaking it down, like how he thinks that this is the transportation is the nexus of everything.
Mm-hmm.
If maybe I could pull this up here. Yeah, let's check this out, because I think this is fascinating what's going on over there. And again, it's exciting to me because it's spidering out and it's getting attention. It caused the creation of a second AG, and I'm loving it.
So here in Minnesota, you have daycare fraud, you have adult daycare fraud, you have healthcare fraud, and you even have more fraud. What's some of the fraud that's also taking place here inside of Minnesota?
Well, what I think might be sort of the heart of the beast here is this transportation fraud. And what I mean by that is in Minnesota, we have something called non-emergency medical transportation, NEMT. My research has shown that there are about 1,020 such companies in Minnesota, and more than 90% of them are Somali-owned.
And so right here on the table, what do we have? All this information right here.
So I have a number of companies that are local here in the Twin Cities, and this is just a fraction of the companies that are out there. What I found was that the national average for a non-emergency medical transportation company is 20 vehicles per company. A lot of these companies, their address is an apartment, some are in a house, some are in a convenience store, some of them in a vacant building. There's no signage, there's nobody there.
And so why would there be such a need for all these transportation companies here inside of Minnesota?
So if you think of this transportation as the hub of the wheel, so childcare is a spoke, adult daycare is a spoke, autism is a spoke, the interpreter services, which we can get into, that's another spoke. It all ties back to transportation. Why? Because those meals someone had to deliver those meals. Someone has to deliver the kid to autism, or say they did. So it all revolves around the transportation. And so when you're looking at this, you say, okay, well, let's just be conservative. Let's go on the low side. Let's say there are only 800 Somali-owned non-emergency medical transportation companies in Minnesota. Well, again, the average is 20 vehicles per company. So that's 800 times 20. And the way these NEMT companies are paid is if they bring someone to a doctor's appointment, whatever the case might be, or Costco or wherever they're going, because remember, it's non-emergency medical transportation. Well, we went to Costco because they have to eat or they'll die. So that's considered, right? So it's almost impossible to figure out from the outside what exactly the payments are for each of these trips. But I have a pretty good idea. So when someone provides a transportation to a facility or a location, they're also paid for the time to sit there and wait for the appointment to end and then drive the person back. So they're paid 3 different ways. And the average is going to be $50 per trip. So it's going to the appointment is a trip, coming back trip. So that's $100 per round trip. So if you have 800 companies in Minnesota that are NEMT companies, they all own 20 vehicles, and they're all making 10 trips a day, and it's $50 per trip. So it's 800 times 20 times 10 trips times $50 a trip. Do the math. And the reality is, how many of these trips are being provided? 0. They don't have to provide any. Why? Because when they are paid by the state of Minnesota, These companies go online and they fill out a form, and it just says, okay, how many trips, how many miles. They submit that electronically to the state, and boom, they get paid. Nobody bothers to check. They don't call the dentist. Did this kid show up? They don't do anything. As soon as that form is filed with the state of Minnesota, that payment goes out immediately.
And so essentially, these transportation companies are what hold all of the fraud together, because you have the daycare centers working with the transportation companies, the adult daycare centers working with the transportation companies, the healthcare companies working with the transportation companies. So it's just another way to bill and to also make it look like something's happening here inside of Minnesota.
This is the belly of the beast. All of this fraud revolves around these transportation companies. All of it. This touches every part of fraud here in Minnesota.
So I thought that was fascinating how they're all kind of linked. That seems to be the original scam, this non-emergency medical transportation. And dude, this is the perfect team right here. And I hope more of these type teams pop up. You got David, who has clearly been doing his research on this for many, many years, as he's said, and you could see just from the information he's providing. And then you have Nick Shirley, who is an internet personality, who's, very personally does a lot of the on the street stuff, but he's able to bring it to a wide audience together. This is another one going viral, man. And it should.
It absolutely should. The amount of money that is pumped through that one aspect of the fraud is staggering. And what's even crazier is that, there's no accountability when they're filling out their reports and submitting billing to the state of Minnesota. That's crazy that they don't have to provide an identity. They don't have to provide a rationale. They don't have to give mileage on their car or even just say that they traveled 50 miles to do one thing or another. If you work for a company and you've got to submit mileage for reimbursement, they're going to want to know your starting mileage and your ending mileage. And that mileage that you're claiming has to be exactly the same as what that mileage is, the difference between the two. You can just submit that and you can just get paid. And they've had some of these companies in business as long as 26 years, not even having to operate a storefront. Like, this is the golden goose of fraud. Because as they find out later in the show, they start going to liquor stores and mailbox locations and money changers. I mean, all of the other frauds, each one of these businesses, it'll just be like, all it is a liquor store, but it's got a money sender. It's got an adult home health care. It's got the non-emergency medical transportation. It's got everything that you could want operating out of the real business, which is the liquor store, which is already a moneymaker. I mean, you put a liquor store in a neighborhood like that, people are going to be drinking, right? At the very least, they're coming in to buy a Slim Jim and some Cheetos. People don't give a shit. Like, if that's what's available, that's what they're getting. But then you operate one of these non-emergency medical transportation companies, and at the end of the day, you pull in 20, 30 grand. It's insane.
Dude, yeah, the amount of money. It's funny. So much fraud has been uncovered this whole year that it just, some of it even just feels like it's 10 years ago, but it's not. It's less than a year ago. This reminds me of when Elon was initially going in with the Doge team, and he was talking about checks being written, and he goes, "There's nothing filled out in the explanation to what this is going, and there's no follow up, and no one can tell you why these are being written." And it just goes to show that we have the American taxpayer has been robbed just constantly for pretty much ever. And this is why we're in debt, and this is why there's massive inflation, and this is why people can't even freaking barely pay their mortgage. So you start cutting this away, and boy, Trump's economy is going to start looking really freaking nice. He's doing all these things that would make the economy nice under normal circumstances, the way he did in his first administration. But now he's also coupling that with completely just ripping through scam after scam after scam after scam after scam after freaking transgender DEI facilities overseas, making millions of dollars. One thing after another. When the smoke has cleared, and we've said this on the show a lot, it's already starting to clear a little bit. But when it is fully cleared, we're going to have a nice, clean system. And I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah. So plants healed. Doge is not gone. Doge was integrated with all federal agencies. So each federal agency has its own Doge division within it now. So they're no longer their own separate federal government agency. They're actually part of these different government offices, and their budget was rolled into those offices. So there was no need to have a separate one. And I have to be honest, I mean, I think that works even better because now you've got people that are dedicated to making sure that the budget is on track, or that people are not wasting money, that you're not just sending out blank checks on the regular. And, you know, I think that, you know, the point of Doge was to implement it and then ensure that it was integrated into part of the way that government business is done, so that we can be assured that going forward, we're going to have this accountability and these checks and balances in place, so that, you know, somebody is always there looking over the shoulders of whomever it is. It's like internal affairs at a police department, right? Yeah. You know, I mean, like every department has an internal affairs division, and they're just sitting there waiting for people to screw up or people to speak out. And it's a little bit different behind the blue line, right? I mean, like, you're going to have people that protect each other, but you're going to have, you know, a fair amount of fraud and illegal activity that's going on. And they're going to be able to catch some of it. Are they going to catch all of it at Doge, or, you know, at each of these departments? I can only hope that they're going to catch most of it. But I think that the way that human beings behave, people are always going to look for a way to commit fraud. And hopefully we can take what we've learned about how this money is abused, how our trust is abused, and how the money is wasted, and then going in that direction, we'll be able to stop it in the future. Now, I think that D Patriot says New Jersey is now poised to become the first sanctuary state by law. That's not going to last because that's against the law. 3 bills protecting illegals just passed both the Assembly and the Senate, waiting on the lame duck governor's signature. New Jersey is toast. That's not going to last because that is outside of federal law. So illegal aliens are not going to be here, even if New Jersey gets something like that on the books and the federal government doesn't come in and, you know, force them to you know, get rid of it in some fashion. I don't know. But there's no way something like that is going to last. President Trump just announced today, and I talked about this on the show earlier, as of February 1st, no federal money will be going to sanctuary states or sanctuary cities everywhere across the United States. So if New Jersey does that, they will now be one of those states which is not going to receive any money from the federal government.
And New Jersey already taxes its citizens just an insane amount. I mean, this is one of the things, if you look at the last 10 years, there's been a ton of people moving out of New Jersey because it's just one of the most expensive places to live.
I heard it was like 22%.
Probably. Hey, you know, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's insane. And as someone who paid New Jersey and New York State taxes for many, many years, I can just tell you that it's almost impossible to live there at some point. Mm-hmm. And so where are you going to make up that extra money? You're already crazy gas taxes that they've been putting on for years. There's all these different taxes. So that's going to be untenable. And as far as to talk about, you know, the Doge comment, what you were saying, how this is spread out into every department. Yeah, the thing with Doge is like Doge didn't create Doge. Doge was already the prime directive of the Trump administration, of this Trump experiment since day one, since 2016. It's literally what he ran on, was rooting out the fraud and getting in there. And basically Elon was just like, hey, I'll help with that. And he put together a team of freaking smart people who were going to go in and actually make a full department out of it. And they went in and they caught a lot of stuff. But as far as it's over now, no. This existed long before Doge was even a thought. And it's in, like you're saying, it's in every department. And now even specifically, Doge is in every department. But the whole idea of cutting down government waste and fraud, That's the whole Trump doctrine, man. I mean, look at what like Linda McMahon was tasked with the Department of Education. Look what Robert F. Kennedy was tasked with HHS. Look what all of them, every one of them, that's their task outside of DOGE is to cut down personnel, to find the BS departments. I think of how much we saved just by cutting all these stupid DEI programs right out of the gate. And that goes across government. So the whole idea of rooting out fraud, that's what this whole administration is about. So that's the one hand. And then the other hand is creating a stable economy, bringing back jobs, and just doing a lot of the things that they did in the first administration, which worked like a charm. Larry Kudlow used to talk a lot about what they were doing and how it was working, and it was amazing. They were also freeing up energy. We've talked about this a lot. Offshore drilling and different things in Alaska and down in the Gulf of America. We're on the verge of a massive, massive boom. They're also, again, all the different tech moves that they're making. We're on the verge of a technological boom. And even just the stuff that they're doing with making deals with computer chips and data mining. And did you see that big was like that Bitcoin facility that Eric Trump was what was that, a few months ago or whatever, that he was showing? Like, there are so many things going on right now, and as they all start just coming to fruition, this is the golden age. There's no way around it.
And President Trump also has mandated that each and every one of these new AI data centers has their own power production on site too, because that's another huge thing in areas where AI data centers have gone in. People's electricity bills have shot up by like 30% because the data centers are using a tremendous amount of power, so that the power company has got to create more power, and it puts stress on the grid, and they know they can charge people more, so they're just going ahead and doing it. So now if the AI data centers are producing their own power, there's no need for the power companies to rape the people that are living around them.
That's great.
That's awesome. And oh God, there was something else that was recently decided that I wanted to talk with you about. I can't remember right now. I'll probably, it'll come to me again at some point in the future. But yeah, you know, the situation in Minnesota is not unique. There is fraud happening in every state in the country. What is unique about Minnesota and Ohio and say like Washington, the hot spots for the Somali population, is that we can identify which businesses are likely to be engaging in fraud because they happen to be owned by Somalians, and you can look that information up. Now, you said earlier, I hope that this encourages people in other states to do this type of on-the-ground investigation. It's definitely a little bit more difficult when you go to other places. Like, you know, I tried looking down here in Florida. There's only like 50 or 60 Somalians that live in Florida, and they're all in Palm Beach. Okay. And you know, I mean, it's a different type of economy down there, and they're living in Palm Beach like they're already wealthy. Maybe they got wealthy in Minnesota and they decided to move down here, but who knows?
Retired.
Yeah, that could be. But yeah, you know, so the business structure is just going to be a little bit different, you know, so people could start looking up, you know, I don't even know if we have non-medical transportation services down here in Florida, if that's something that we, the state, pays for. Certainly we can go look at daycare centers, you know, I mean, that's something that people could do. But I know back in Michigan, I never had any problem finding daycare centers that were full of kids. You know, I mean, like if I went to a daycare center, I was looking for daycare for my child, and they had kids there. They were full. You know, I mean, you could call them, you could walk in, you could see the kids. It was universal. There would be obviously a facility that was servicing children, and parents coming and going at all hours that they were open. So a lot easier to find this stuff in Minnesota. Yeah. And Marsha Blackburn just introduced a bill in the Senate with, you know, co-sponsors, pretty much all the Republicans. And it makes it easier to denaturalize people who are Americans that came here as immigrants or refugees or something like that. Or if they're like green card holders, you can kick them out if they engage in any kind of fraud. against an individual, against a company, against the government. It's carte blanche all the way across. Right now, in order to get denaturalized, you have to be proven to have engaged in more than $10,000 worth of fraud. This removes that low end cap. So
that's good, because that's a way that could be abused.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely weaponize something like that without a cap of that nature. And look at the people. This is one of those bills. They come up every so often where you can really just list who's voting against this. You're voting against fraud. You don't want to denaturalize someone who's committing over $10,000 of fraud. This is they're on. I would look at people who are freshly immigrated here as you're on a trial basis at the moment. You're in now, but now you have to prove that you deserve to be here. And that is something that I think would disqualify it. That's freaking awesome. And I would say with what's going on in Minnesota, a couple things to look at. One, I think when this is all unrolled, I don't think it's going to be just Somalis. I'm sure you'd agree with that. I bet you there's people. This is a thing that the Somali community has picked up on, right? And they very much are interconnected and have spread it out amongst themselves. But this is a fraud deal that's going on, and I imagine there's tons of it of all shapes and sizes. So for people, one thing I noticed that the daycares, he was getting them off the official state websites. And so it's a little different, right? You and I were looking up daycare, or like I know my brother, when they were looking up daycare for my niece, and they're looking at websites. They're looking at places that are paying to be that first search on Google, and legitimate businesses, right? So I noticed that he just mentions it quick. He doesn't make a point of it, but he says, on the state website, this is listed here and this is listed there. So I think they have to be, if they're getting funding, they have to be listed in this place, but they're probably not going crazy with their regular advertising. And I'm sure it's obviously probably tons of regular daycare in Michigan that are soaking up all the regular people. So yeah, that's an in. But one thing as a researcher, which I helps a lot and should help a lot of people out there, is when you get keywords, when you get leads, basically. And this is what the drops really helped me a lot, is they gave you things to look for, things that you would never type into a search engine that you didn't even hear about before. And then that's a lead. And then you could spider off that and you start finding other keywords that you never heard before. You're like, oh, let me start searching this one. And that's how I go off. So when I'm watching this, something that pops out to me is NEMT, non-emergency medical transportation. So it's not a phrase I ever heard before, but it seems to be, David seems to be convinced that this is the hub for a lot of these things. Or just, again, just specifically looking at daycare centers. Or he mentioned a few, like adult care. He said there was things there too. Translators in healthcare, autism centers. Autism centers jumps out at me as well, because we notice a lot of these they've kind of become like leftist things. Like, no doubt the autism is a thing, right? But they have that's something they've blown up. Like every kid who's even a little different is, oh, he's autistic. He's autistic. Everyone's autistic nowadays, right? Yeah, probably because they're making money off it. And that's the sort of things, though, like USAID. I guarantee you some of the things we were focusing on, the crazier ones, right? Like transgender clinics overseas. But I'm sure there was tons of, autism, this and any buzzword you can get. So I like that there's keywords, there's leads that are coming out of this. And again, people are going to be going all over the place. I do have a little bit of a longer clip. I only have one more clip here, but this pretty much sums up what's going on over there that maybe we can watch. I do want to tell everyone, though, before we do that, about CBD from CB Distillery. And basically, I'm going to ask, what if your only resolution this year was to get better sleep? Just imagine how much energy you'd have. You'd handle stress better. Pretty much all your goals would be easier. And sleep is key to all of that. That's why the smart way to start 2026 is with CBD from CB Distillery. Get this, over 90% of CBD customers say they sleep better with CBD. You can't beat that. When you sleep better, everything feels easier. And CB Distillery has options for more than just sleep, solutions for stress relief, mood and pain after workouts. You can shop by benefit, so it's easy to find what you're looking for. Everything from CB Distillery is premium quality, third-party tested, and free of artificial dyes or fillers. And they have over 2 million happy customers and 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're ready to start the new year off right, go to cbdistillery.com and use our code ALTERED for 25% off. That's cbdistillery.com, promo code ALTERED, cbdistillery.com. Specific product availability depends on individual state regulations.
They just sent Lisa and I a whole bunch of stuff. So thank you very much. I actually took some of the relaxing ones last night. I just ate one of them and I passed out at like 8 o'clock. Like there's no THC in it, but I was like exhausted because of my back and stuff. Okay.
Yes,
so
not psychosomatic. The CBD is the
psychosomatic is when you're imagining it.
And
Psychoactive is
psychoactive. That's what I was saying. I was like, I don't think this is right. Not psychoactive. Yeah, CBD is you won't get high. You just will get some good sleep.
All right. So, Brad, will you share this tab with people on screen? Okay. So, what I'm showing you guys here is a tool that was developed by somebody that I follow on X called Beaver D at Beaver D. So this is somalyscan.com. And what she is doing is slowly going through every state in America and adding in demographic and business data. Like right here, we can see that there are 12,000 childcare providers in the state of Florida, 983,000 PPP loans, $115,000 SBA loans, and then 695 nursing agencies. All right. So go to California. There's 14,000 child cares, 1.3 million PPP, 287,000 SBA, and 1,000 nursing. Now, Minnesota, 7,000 child care, 225,000 PPP loans, 14,000 SBA loans, and you need fewer loans if you've got actual businesses, and then 340 nursing and 1,000 H-1B holders. So you can see there's different data that they have that has been plugged into all of these different places. Now, the darker states, you've got fewer in terms of like a proportion for the state. But if I click on Florida right here, this will gradually open up. There is a lot of data, so it takes a minute. But you can use this at home to start combing through and seeing if you can identify some businesses that may be in your area that could have some red flags. So let's go. I think that this is close to my area up here. No, right. Here we go. Let's look down here. This is the closest one. Daytona Beach is like right here. Okay. So you've got all of these different businesses. When you zoom in closer, you can find them. And so you got certain places where there's clusters. Like here's a location right here. The Shabbat Lubavitch of Greater Daytona Child Care Facility. You can look at the details. Here's another one, Treehouse Learning Center. And obviously, they don't have complete data yet. But if it's green, then it's just a provider. If it's red, then they've already flagged it for fraud. And so you can, and then you scroll down a little bit, and they've got all of these different businesses that have received PPP loans. All right. And right here, this business, Nextran Corporation in Jacksonville, they received $10 million in PPP loans. They've got 500 jobs. So, if you find some place that maybe has, high level of PPP loans and these PPP loans, I'm pretty sure those were all forgiven. Can
you send me that link in the private chat? I want to put it in the box.
Yeah.
In the description box for anyone who wants to use this.
Okay, so there you go. Somalyscan.com. And also follow Beaver D because she's finding stuff and she's putting it out there every day. Now here's another one. Angie K actually tagged me in this, and so this is, a lot of people are calling this fraud. I don't know if you can't, from my mind, until we do more research on each and every one of these businesses, we can't specifically say. So what we're looking at here is like Indian immigrants who have moved someplace, and you've got 8 different gas stations which are being built, and each one of them is receiving different amounts of small business association loans. So you've also got federal grant money that is going to these people as well. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to be an immigrant to get grant money or to get an SBA loan. All right. You just have to have a company. You need to, file for the loan, or, have some place where you're filing for the grant, and you need to open up a business. I would say that these guys probably are going to have real gas stations, but where the fraud comes in and where the questionable activity comes in is likely they're probably going to be bringing in H-1B visa holders. Or maybe that was their plan until President Trump had the H-1B visa system completely reworked. If they're already open, if they're already open and they've already, been operating for some time, they've probably got a bunch of H-1B visas working for them. So not necessarily fraud, but certainly money that could be going to native-born American citizens rather than going to immigrants that are coming in from out of the country. I do believe that under the Biden administration, there was a lot of money that was being handed out to people who were incentivized to come here to the United States, and that money was being given to them over citizens of the United States. And so, there's definitely some, let's say, some fuckery going on here. Now, here's another tool. My buddy Andrew Torba created this. It's called youfundthis.com. Now, when you go to youfundthis.com, can you see this? Oh, can you see that? Yep. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. All right. So you go to youfundthis.com, and no, this is the one I want to share. Okay, youfundthis.com. So you can track where taxpayer money is going. So they've got grants, state subsidies, SBA loans, and PPP loans, foreign aid, contracts. They've got it broken down by the types of businesses as well. Now, unsurprisingly, perhaps, a lot of this money is going to immigrant businesses. Not a lot is going to American businesses. Now, part of the reason that there's fuckery going on is because when these people come to the United States, they're basically handed like a primer on where to get this money from. Now, an SBA loan still has to be paid back. That's not going to be forgiven. So theoretically, the government is getting its money back. However, they could also theoretically take that money and they can just split back to India, and then they would never have to pay that money back. I don't know how often that happens, but I'm just throwing it out there. But you can go here and you can see, like, let's take a look at gas stations. $50 million in funding, with 78,000 SBA loans going to businesses that are gas stations. And let's just click on this one. Markatanis Group Incorporated in Falmouth, Massachusetts. And tells you how many jobs it created. That was approved in November of 2019. Doesn't look like it's still in business because it says 0 jobs retained. Discovery Hospitality, same thing. That's also from 2019. So, I don't know if these people ended up getting $5 million in loans. Like, that seems to be the cap. It also just seems to be the amount of money that everybody gets. So, I'm not real certain on exactly how this works, but maybe they can, doesn't tell us anything about this SBA 7. So we can look this up, SBA 7A, and see like what the terms of that are. But also, somebody in the chat said that every state has non-emergency medical transportation, and they're right. Now, a couple of those things that we talked about in Minnesota are specific to Minnesota. They've got state-funded programs that are being funded through federal money being given to the states, and then they will reimburse people. That's why you've got basically every Somali child is diagnosed with autism, because they know that it's a vector to receive money. So every state has has non-emergency medical transportation, because that is reimbursed by Medicaid. So all Medicaid eligible recipients who have no other means of transportation may receive these non-emergency transportation rides. Now, if you go to this tab right here, you can see what the policies are, the reimbursement, the fee schedules. So let's go to the reimbursements over here. And you've got assisted care schedule fees, behavioral analysis schedule fees. So every different type of non-emergency medical transportation has, I guess, its own fee schedule. Let's look at family home health aid schedule. Let's check that out. All right. So you're getting $25 an hour. All right. And you can get paid for up to 8 hours a day. Now, I don't know, what the qualifications are for that. But when we go to the reimbursement policies, we can see here direct reimbursement to recipients. Let's pull that up. So, okay, so they're reimbursing for everything, but it doesn't tell us like what the I don't even know if, there you go. Now you can see this. It doesn't tell us what the actual reimbursement policy is. Like, how do you do it? What do you have to submit? Payment methodology, perhaps that's it. Medical school faculty, cancer hospitals, reimbursement scheduling and billing codes, prescription drug reimbursement. So if this is anything like Minnesota, and people can just go to a website and just punch in whatever it is that they are claiming they are owed, then obviously that's a huge problem, because they're not asking for any sort of verification on stuff. This is a Medicaid reimbursement. So this is a federal government reimbursement. I don't know. I mean, I went through the whole website and I couldn't find something that said, you go here to fill this out. They do have a section with forms for looks like certification, case management, adults with cystic fibrosis, nothing related to how you get your money. If I had to guess, there's probably like a portal that people would log into, and then
it looked like there might have been something on that when you were going down that one list. I don't know if it was a clickable thing, but it's something that looked like it said methods for reimbursement. And then, but who knows, man? It doesn't look like anyone's checking at very least, right?
Well, they're obviously not checking in Minnesota. I would love to speak to a non-medical transportation company down here in Florida. So I think tomorrow what I'll do is I'll try to find one locally, and I'll go pay them a visit, and I'll see, what kind of information they have. I mean, like, hey, what's the what's the skinny here? Because
here's the deal for regular companies, they have to love this. I mean, obviously not everyone's a fraud, right? And these are real services that real people do need. So somewhere there are some of these companies that are really doing it, and they're getting what they want. But that whole pool is probably harder for them to get it, for a regular company to get it, because it's being saturated by all these frauds. So there's no reason why every company wouldn't want this to happen, wouldn't want people to dig in and start documenting every single facility, and to be proud to be like, we are absolutely legit. Here's all the proof. And then get their name green lighted as we cut this field down.
Yeah. So Gopher says no jail, no stop. Bondi is their green light. I have to push back on you there. I mean, we've got thousands of agents. We've got FBI. We've got HSI. We've got DOJ pouring lawyers into Minnesota. Like right now, I understand it's going on everywhere, but the investigation for something like what we're talking about right now would first be done by Health and Human Services. And there's a variety of different organizations under the banner of Health and Human Services, which are currently doing those investigations. Now, only once those investigations are done does that get handed over to the Department of Justice for them to indict and then put them on trial. So I think, again, just because you're hearing about something today, but you're not seeing that person arrested, there's a misunderstanding about how the system actually works. I understand it's frustrating that it's not happening quickly, that's not happening faster. But I mean, the Feeding Our Future scam, I mean, that started like back during the pandemic, right? And you've only now, 5 years later, got people who are going on trial for that. Like, ultimately, I think what they are hoping to do to avoid years and years of drawn out legal battles is to identify who these people are that's doing this and then immediately denaturalize and deport them. So, I mean, at the same time that all of this is being investigated, you know, you've got the IRS doing audits on companies in Minneapolis and all around Minnesota, companies that are hiring illegal aliens. You've got businesses that are getting visited. You've got the Treasury Department that is tracking the path of money. You've got ICE that just took over the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport as of today. Okay, they're going to be checking, you know, people's bags. They're going to be on site to check people's papers. They've got Eastern Airlines has gone under a contract with Department of Homeland Security. They've basically taken over an airfield in Minnesota, and they are flying people out every single night. So, you know, I think that there is a lot happening. And I just think it's not as simple as just like Pam Bondi waving her finger and saying like, you know, boom, go here, you know, click your heels 3 times and you go back to Minnesota.
Well said, man. Well, with that,
I meant to say Somalia, but
that's different. With that, let's play this clip. That, like I said, this one's a little longer, but this is definitely going to show the full spectrum of 1, the fraud, and 2, the pushback. And there is something with the guy who pushes back. Well, he doesn't push back; he just becomes belligerent. There's a key phrase that he says sort of in the middle of his rant that I'm going to focus on afterwards. I'm going to see if you guys catch that in the chat.
Supposed to be a company registered right here. It's
let's see if that there. Okay.
And there's supposed to be a transportation company registered right here. It's 617, but it's a liquor store. The location here is 607 and also 617. These are 2 transportation companies. 607, and it is not a transportation company. It's actually a money transfer, but it's registered here.
But if you look at the Secretary of State's office, state of Minnesota, Safari Transportation, 607 Cedar Avenue, and it's been registered here since 2015. That was the original filing.
We're looking for the transportation company.
Safari Transportation?
Looking for Safari Transportation?
No, there's no Safari Transportation here.
No Safari Transportation?
Safari Transportation, 607 Cedar Avenue.
We're just looking for Safari Transportation.
We don't know.
So, but this is registered for Safari Transportation, 607.
That's the address.
Okay, we don't know.
We're asking where Safari Transportation is.
We don't know.
Okay, so the business is not here.
Don't record.
Fuad Omar?
Fuad Omar?
We don't know. This, do you see this? What is this?
Money transferring.
That's it.
Okay,
well, this
registered.
Is from the state.
This is fraud taking place. This is supposed to say, this is for Safari Transportation.
Go find out.
Yeah, we did find out. This is fraud right here.
Registered here
This is registered.
2015.
2015?
Safari Transportation, state of Minnesota.
2015. Well, oh, yeah.
Well, but it's registered now. This is current, just off the state of Minnesota website today. This is from today. I just printed this off today. Fuad Omar.
Go check it out.
We're here. This is 607. Where's Safari Transportation?
Okay, it's no Safari, period.
Okay, so it's a fraudulent business.
Did you see Safari anything here?
Exactly.
Did you see?
Exactly. It's not
See
here.
it?
It's a fraud.
Did you see, sir?
Now we're going to 617, another transportation company. However, it is actually Cedar Riverside Liquor. Where is the transportation company?
617.
617 right here?
Transportation for the state of Minnesota is registered to 617 Cedar Avenue South.
And it's a liquor store. Now we're in 617, Dreamline Transportation.
No.
Where is the transportation company?
No, we don't have this.
You ever heard of Safari Transportation?
Safari, I know Safari, that money wiring, 607.
The money wiring?
Yeah.
Okay, that's money wiring.
Yeah.
We're looking for Safari Transportation.
607.
They said they never heard of it.
I never did. Safari company, the money wiring, they send money there, that's the 607.
So Safari gets the money and then they wire it out.
Yeah, the money.
That man just said that Safari is actually a money wiring company, so therefore they're receiving money and then wiring it somewhere underneath the name of a transportation company.
So he said to go here
Suite A right here. And then you have 617A right here, but this is reliable services, immigration, travel, and tax. I do not see a transportation company anywhere.
Morning. Hey, we're hoping to find Dreamline Transportation. You ever heard of it?
I've never heard of it. Ask next door.
He said to ask here, that you would know.
Ask next door. This is a mailbox. It's not a roll call.
So, Dreamline Transportation could be nothing more than a mailbox. 834.
So it could be one of these mailboxes. Well,
okay, see you later.
607 Safari Transportation doesn't exist. It's actually a money wiring business. 617 Dreamline, inside of there, it's actually a liquor store. And then 617A is a place where there's a bunch of mailboxes and it says reliable ITT services. How are you doing, man?
I just want to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Why are you sensationalizing the propaganda?
What are we sensationalizing?
To attack our community. What's your final objective?
We're not attacking.
This guy looks like he should be a character on the old Fat Albert cartoon.
I was just gonna say, hey.
Your community by any means.
Are you making good money from this?
We're looking for fraud.
No,
for instance, can you answer our question? Where's Safari Transportation Company 607? It's not there. And why don't you answer?
How much money are you?
Why don't you answer the question? Where's 617 Dreamline Security?
How much money are you making?
I make money off of YouTube. That's how I make my money.
Exactly. So you're making money off of sensationalizing.
That my job
and attacking
is
the Somali community.
I'm not attacking you guys. We're asking.
I'll tell you the reason why this is
sir.
happening. All right. Let me tell you the reason why.
Fraud is fraud, correct?
Yes.
This has nothing to do with race. This is fraud.
This
fraud.
Absolutely has to do with us being Muslim.
No, it does not.
All right, and us being
Shut up.
Africa. This is a constitutional argument. If you don't want us here, change the freedom of religion. Say, listen, we don't want Muslims in this country anymore.
We're not saying that.
No.
We're not saying that.
When I go
Sir,
onto
we're
your
talking
comments,
about fraud. When
I go onto your comments,
my comments.
What I see is people that say we do not want Muslims here. Kick every single Muslim in Minnesota out of Minnesota.
That's a comment.
You're preparing for the Somali community to maybe be taken to concentration camps, just like the Japanese community. All right, you're sensationalizing.
No, we're not.
All right,
Sir,
something that
answer
can
the question. Where is the transportation vehicle company?
Jeopardize
answer the question.
The safety and the protection of the Somali community.
We're talking about fraud.
If anything happens to the Somali
community,
community,
we're talking about fraud.
I'm not doing anything. I'm not physically touching
You're getting very close.
I'm not physically touching. No, I'm not physically touching.
This is fraud. We're talking about fraud.
What you're
defending fraud.
You're defending fraud. Comments,
you're defending fraud.
People who hate Muslims want us out of here.
People can say
for
what they
being
want.
Muslim,
I'm not censoring anybody.
Are using your material. Islamophobes use your material. People who hate Islam use your material. Say to us, we don't want you here. Change the Constitution. But guess what? Let me tell you something. Guess what?
Say it. We're asking about fraud.
We're
asking about fraud.
You hate Muslims.
I'm not saying I hate Muslims. We're talking about fraud. We're talking about fraud.
Why are you attacking us?
This
are we
is
the
fraud.
only community that suffers because of fraud?
We're talking about fraud.
Are we the only community that does fraud? Are we the only community that does this?
This is about fraud.
All right, but there's what, 300 Somali providers in all of Minnesota?
There's actually 800.
Don't keep talking. Don't go
so,
you speak English? Your security doesn't even speak English. Listen, let me tell you something.
See, this isn't a race issue, sir. This is about fraud.
We have, what, 1,000 providers?
Yeah, you guys have a...
Even it's 2,000 providers.
Okay,
you want to sacrifice the safety of 80,000 people because of fucking 2,000 providers? Are you fucking mad? Are you stupid?
I'm not stupid. You're stupid. Where's the transportation company?
What about if a mass shooting happens in Minnesota? It will be because of you. It will be because of you. If any Somali gets hurt in Minnesota, it's because of Nick fucking Shirley.
This is about fraud.
One single Somali gets hurt.
This is about fraud,
sir. It's because of you. Sensationalizes. You son of a bitch. Sensationalizes.
Wow, you're very nice.
Get the fuck out of our neighborhood.
Very nice.
Get the fuck out of our neighborhood.
Sir, can you tell me where the transportation company is?
Get the fuck out of our neighborhood. We don't want you here. Get the fuck out of here.
Calm down, sir. Calm down, sir.
Get the fuck out of here.
Sir, this is about fraud.
You wanted clicks?
You're sensationalizing yourself, sir.
You wanted clicks?
You're sensationalizing yourself.
Language. This is a Christian.
Tell me where the transportation vehicle is.
Clicks. You got YouTube clicks. Now get the fuck out of our community.
Tell me where the transportation vehicle is.
Get the fuck out of our community.
Tell me where the... This is about fraud.
Motherfucker. Say I don't want Muslims
here. This is about
here.
fraud.
Say I don't want Muslims here. Say it. I want to change the Constitution.
No, I don't want to change the Constitution.
Freedom of religion, and I don't want Muslim Somalis in Minnesota. Kick them out. I was born in this country. You have to take the passport away from me. That is what you are arguing for.
We're not talking.
Change the Constitution.
This is about fraud.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Get the fuck out of our community.
This is about fraud.
Get the fuck out of our community. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Stupid fucking idiot.
Tell me where the transportation company is then.
Get the fuck out of here.
Obviously, for this video, we had to get security because look at this now.
Oh. God.
Fatigue, bro. Ultimate fatigue.
Yeah, absolute ultimate fatigue. So, you know, they have to fall back on, oh, it's Islamophobic. Oh, it's racist. Oh, it's like anti-Afrocentric or something like that. I don't care who's committing the fraud. It just so happens that most of y'all in that area are committing fraud. You know, those 2,000 providers that he's talking about for just the transportation. I mean, that is tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, like every single year. And, you know, I mean, it's cumulative. Now, you looking at that business right there, you had a home health aid that was listed on there. You've got the mailbox place right there. You've got the liquor store. You've got the grocery store. You've got a transportation business. All of those, there's 5 businesses right there in that one building. And, you know, I mean, the thing is, like, we have no idea. Like, was that address just used by some Somali scammer years ago? They were like, I'm not going to need any mail. I don't need anybody coming to find me. I'm just going to punch in numbers and get paid, you know? Or I would say that probably the guy who was cool, he was like, oh yeah, no, there's no place like that here. You know, check next door though. They've definitely,
the older guy was smarter.
Yeah. He was like, you know, yeah, sure. Yeah. He had nothing to worry about, it seemed like. And he was obviously taking care of business. He had that scribbly notebook. I mean, he's writing everything down. He looks like he's got meticulous records, even if you can't read half of them. But the guy who immediately started screaming at him in that, you know, and he points up to the sign on the wall. It's a different company that he's pointing to. The money exchanger, that was listed nowhere. And then the old guy is like Safari money changers. So he's like, wait a second. It said like Xanthem money changers in the freaking store.
He said Safari. I picked that up too. Right. Yeah. So he knew the name Safari. He volunteered that on his own and knew the freaking address, the 607.
Yes.
But here's where the first guy gives himself away, right? Because it's like, say if I'm running a convenience store and someone's like, yo, they're using your address for this fake freaking company. Would you be mad at the guy telling you that? Or would you say, what? Give me that. You know, you'd be mad at the person, right? That they're using your address. Doesn't that bother you? No, He's not mad at that. He's mad at the person, Nick Shirley, which is just guilt. So it was a total mistake on his part. Now, the guy who is yelling at the end is funny. He starts off like just trying to be clever, and he devolved pretty quick into, what? It's just some of us. It's just a little fraud. Like, he basically was like, oh, there's what, over a couple hundred people committing fraud? You're going to ruin the whole community? Shouldn't you be mad about the people committing fraud? They're the ones ruining the community unless you're involved in it. And I bet you it might not be him himself, but it's clearly something that whole community is aware of, and it pumps money into their community, which everyone benefits from, even if you're not a direct criminal involved in it.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. Have you been following what's going on with silver, dude?
I know the last time I checked, it was in the 80s.
It hit 93 today here in the United States, and it was 115 in Shanghai. Let me show you this, because like several big banks have just gotten their asses blown out on short trades that they had made. Okay. Right here. This is TDS. Present. So they got in on some shorts maybe like a week ago or something like that. Hold on. Share this tab instead. Okay, go ahead and share that. Yeah. Okay, so they entered at $78 an ounce. They
this is TDA, I think, right?
Well, no, TD Securities. TD Securities. Yeah. Okay, so they were saying they thought it was going to go to $40 an ounce because it had started to backslide because there was a little bit of manipulation going on. Their stop loss was at 92.50, which it exceeded today. So they also had shorts on gold, and they lost. This is buying and selling in the millions. They lost out on copper. They had copper shorts that they lost on. They lost on aluminum shorts. They lost on nickel shorts. They lost on gold shorts, and they lost on silver shorts.
Oh my God, dude.
So 7,382 million. So I mean, that's like $7 billion, isn't it? Hold on.
If it's million,
hang on. I got to do the math. I can't do this.
Trillion. If that's in the millions, yeah, billion. Yep, 7 billion.
82, 69.
Yep, 7 billion.
1,
yeah.
6. Yeah, $7,382,690 they lost just on gold, and they lost about the same amount on silver. Okay, so that was a 1 week deal that they made, and that's how quickly they lost their asses on it. This has happened to J.P. Morgan, a couple of other banks, and short sellers are horrible. It's even worse in the stock market because big institutional investors can short upcoming businesses and essentially just tank their stock prices because the market will see that all of these short buys are being made, and it'll destroy something. Now, for a long time, banks have been able to manipulate the price of precious metals by using this. And it's just not working right now. Also today, the U.S. Mint pulled all silver numismatics from its website, so you can't buy any silver eagles or anything like that. And it's because the price is so volatile. Like, they can't change the price fast enough, and they're also probably going to end up losing money if they sell it too low. Adam Chester, my nuts. Yeah, baseless conspiracy. This one's not a baseless conspiracy, though. This is a conspiracy with some balls to it. This is definitely a conspiracy that's real. And so TD Securities lost a shit ton of money, and they're not the only ones. So also Scott Bessent has been having secret meetings on silver with other big players. I think that where we're at with silver, this is not the ceiling by any means. Silver and gold and copper are all raising at the same rate, and they're all getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I had no idea that aluminum and nickel were also doing the same thing. I didn't know that. So if we were going
with all the electronics and AI and stuff, starting to raise a lot of these other metals. Yeah. I read years ago a pretty compelling argument for short selling being the cause of the stock market crash of 1929.
That could be. I've definitely heard that before. Yeah.
Like rampant planned short selling.
But with how valuable everything is right now, if we were going to repeg the currency to the price of to precious metals, right now would be a good time to do it. And an aspect of it with Venezuela too. Venezuela's got a ton of silver, a ton of other precious metals and rare earth elements in the ground just waiting to be pulled out. And we're going to have access to all of that as well. And we've also now got access to all that Venezuelan oil. We made a deal with the current government to bring it all over here, and we're going to process it. We're going to refill our strategic reserves. We're also going to get a huge cut of it. So
that's great, man.
Yeah.
For people who, if you guys remember the crisis that was caused by the Biden administration, where gas, I think it finally peaked at $5 a gallon countrywide, and that was in June or July of 2022. The way that eventually came down was this. Let me pull this up here. So he just started selling off our strategic oil reserves, basically. Yep. And then they were like, I'm fixing the problem. Oh, you're causing another problem. This is just temporary. There's only so many. There's only so many millions of barrels here, and so that was his big fix. So if you see, it was starting to go up a little bit, and then it's been slowly now going up the whole time Trump's been in. But again, there is Trump's during his first term. He had talked about a thing where we were selling it, but we were constantly replenishing it with our own. So you'd keep it up, but almost like I don't know, just kind of like an intermediary. So they might set up a program like that, but it's very important to have that as full as possible. And this sounds like a step towards that. That's cool.
So, another aspect of the Venezuela issue that I haven't heard anybody else talking about, but do you know who Canada's largest purchaser of oil was until we took over Venezuela? I mean, it was us. No, Canada. We were like Canada's number one trade partner for oil. Wow. And now we don't have to purchase a single barrel from them if we don't want to, because so that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on Canada in terms of our negotiating power and getting Canada to do whatever we want them to do. So
maybe they start bringing their criminal lumber prices down.
That could be it.
Been robbing us over freaking however many years now.
It could also force them to take care of the problems at the northern border and ensure that people stop coming across and drugs stop coming across. Lots of it.
Yep, that's a beautiful thing right there.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think of? Oh, we're getting late here. I'm gonna have to do some ads, but really quick, did you see Trump said that he's making the claim that the killing has stopped in Iran, the protest killing? There's just been reports of thousands. Obviously, hard to verify, of course, but those are there's a lot of reports coming in that a lot of protesters being killed, and Trump said now that it has stopped, but we'll see. That's a very volatile situation over there. Probably not enough time to really get into it, but if you have any thoughts on that, I'd be curious to hear.
I mean, I've just been waiting to see what the rest of the world's going to do. I mean, they keep telling us that America is going to go into Iran, that Israel is going to go into Iran, that these people are being killed. I don't know that any of it's true because I don't have a lens inside there.
Right,
I feel like the provocation has been made to send the United States in there. Like, I mean, of course that's the dream for a lot of these globalists. If the United States would go in there, then we got our hands full, right?
Yep.
I mean, like it's going to be another mess. No matter how many people, come forward and say that they want us there, like, we're not hanging out in Venezuela. We're not running the place, but I think that Iran might be slightly different, and I don't necessarily want that. I don't think that it's necessary. I have seen reports that the currency has completely collapsed, though. And a number of Iranian banks have collapsed right along with it, including the bank that the government uses to pay like the military and the Revolutionary Guard and stuff. So that could definitely make things destabilized in a way that would ensure the United States, has no need to go in there or anything like that. So I'm waiting to see like what happens before I really try to draw an opinion, because I don't see anything from there. I just see the mainstream media talking about it.
Okay, that's kind of how I felt. As I was wondering what you were thinking, because it's sort of like a wait and see feel with all of that. It's very volatile. I will say this: I do think when all is said and done, that Iran will have returned back to a democratic government like pre-1979. I don't know. I just feel in my bone. It feels like it's actually going to happen this time, and I don't know how involved we'll be with that. We shouldn't necessarily have to be involved at all. Just the threat of us getting involved and standing behind them should be enough. Hopefully it is, but I don't know. It just feels different this time. And I think the world is ready. Could you imagine, especially like say you grew up pre-79, like a normal place, say you're a woman, right? And you could just be a free, normal woman and then all of a sudden, for the next 40 years, you have to be head to toe like you're a freaking ninja, and it's all this. It's not very nice. Sharia law isn't very nice on women. It just isn't, and that doesn't mean they all hate it, but it's very stifling to freedom.
So, couple more points on silver. Silver has now officially overtaken Bitcoin as the higher return investment vehicle over the last 5 years. You will have made a greater percentage on silver than you would on Bitcoin. That is really interesting. And they had silver as a commodity has crossed a $5 trillion market cap for the first time.
I just felt like silver was better than gold because it's a more realistic, tradable, precious metal.
Right.
What's one reason people always say, well, if the shit hits the fan, you're going to want some physical something, right? Well, you could do that with silver. Gold, it's like, let me chip you off a little flake here. It's not as viable to that situation, but that's cool, man. Yeah, the silver stuff is exciting. I wish I had more. Back in the day, Craig got me to buy a 10-ounce piece. So I guess I have $900 in silver. So that's cool.
I don't even know how much total silver I have. I have like a whole thing full of silver and gold and stuff. And I got some platinum too. I bought some platinum a couple years back because I was like, the platinum was way undervalued. Platinum is a lot rarer than gold. And
than both of them.
Yeah. And now, it's more than doubled in value since I bought it. So that's pretty sweet.
Can't go wrong with precious metals.
No.
And you also can't go wrong with a little something called beard oil.
Get you some of that beard oil.
Now that I'm alone at the close-up, do you see how awesome my beard looks right now?
I use the beard oil every single day. First thing.
Comes out feeling all silky smooth.
I take the dropper and I manually apply the oil directly to my mustache.
Nice and, oh man, I love it.
And then I do drops all throughout the hair, and then I just rub it all in. And then I top it off with the tallow stick on the face.
Dude, I feel like I have to grow a beard just to try this beard oil. It sounds
Do it, Jay.
amazing.
It's all from softdisclosure.com, and the best part about it is you'll be supporting Badlands Media, Annie from Willow and Farms, and basically 3 of Annie's neighbors. So that's 5 total American companies that you'd be supporting with one purchase.
I have been using the Soft Disclosure scentless beard oil every day after the shower. It looks unkempt, but it feels silky smooth. I want to look a little wild and unapproachable. But for the woman I trust, she'll be like, oh, it's actually kind of soft. He is approachable after all. Otherwise, stay away. And Soft Disclosure will help you too with that if that's the very specific vibe you're going for.
That is very specific, yes.
You guys are supporting American businesses when you do that. It's absolutely incredible, and you get a great product.
Abby keeps breaking my chops because I don't have. She wants me to grow enough of a beard to use it.
You need to get in on that stuff.
Itchy. I don't know how you guys get past the itchy stage.
You just got to, basically, you just got to have like a week where you're itching it. And honestly, to put moisturizer on it, to put beard oil on it, to put the tallow stick on it, that's going to help out a lot. Maybe it's growing in.
Maybe I'll grow a big Santa Claus beard in time for next Christmas. We got one more sponsor, and this is from another in-house friend, typically who fills in for me when I'm not around, and that's Jordan Sather. It's got some exciting stuff for you guys.
What's up, Badlands fam? Jordan here. If you want to get fit in 2026, I have some news for you.
Nice.
I launched a new conscious strength website that is way more gooder. With the new website, I had 3 new products: a whole food vitamin C,
eat real food,
a parasite detox support tincture called Parashite,
the only good bug is a dead bug,
and a tincture of bitter apricot seed extract with vitamin B17 in it. So go check those out. And one more thing. On January 25th, I'm firing back up my Applied Awareness 6-week health coaching program on the school platform. In this group, I'm doing training on nutrition, supplementation, corrective exercise, movement, and posture. And in there, I have weekly group calls, about 80 exclusive videos, and there's a great chat function for community support. So coaching, courses, and community all in one. Links for the new website and the coaching program should be in the description below. Let's have your best year in 2026. Full maha ahead.
Yeah, right on. And yeah, the links are here. You could, that's the new Gooder website, and then here's for the private coaching program. So definitely go check those out below.
Rosebud says, I'm not sure what's going on in Iran, but my son-in-law is supposed to go over to Iran with a government contractor to teach them how to fly drones, to teach the Iranians how to fly drones. Are you talking about like the Iranian students that are demonstrating, or to teach the Iranian Revolutionary Guard how to fly drones? I'm assuming it's probably the students. That's great.
I want to hold off on this trip maybe for a month. I don't know.
Yeah, they just actually recommended that if you're in Iran and you're an American, you should probably get the hell out of there by land. Leave by land.
Oh, man. Crazy world, crazy times. But you know what? Happy to be going through them with all you guys, and especially with you, brother.
Good times, man.
We'll send you over to DPH, and guys, don't forget to hit that like button. Just do it, okay?
Please hit the likes. Please pretend that you liked it.
Yeah. Come on, you know you want to, and we will see you next week. Peace.
Peace.